What's up everyone? I'm here to show you some tips and tricks on how to get the best installation of your RC body armor. First things first, everybody is different. They all got different lines and different cutouts, and you just have to kind of make the best decision for how you want to install it. I tend to cut out some of the aggressive edges, and so like out on this short course you can see there's these 90 degrees here on these sides here, which you can run the armor on, but you're going to have to probably make seams or cut out because it'll start to flex around those. But what I do is I actually cut them out and just trim them out a little bit, and it makes, see if I can show you. So that's the trimmed side. It doesn't change the look of the body very much, but it just makes that edge rounded compared to that side. So on that side, I'm just going to take some scissors and just round out that edge so that I can use a single piece of armor and no seams. So basically just round those edges out. I tend to use a good CA glue, and you want to make sure to get that glue down in the channel to make sure the armor actually bonds to the plastic, to the Lexan. And then on the inside, I'll run some shoe goo around the edge and seal the back side of it. I suggest using, I just use the tire glue that I use for my tires, and it's a thicker glue, so it gives me a little bit more time to get the armor set where it needs to be. I also highly recommend using these applicator nozzles. It makes it really easy to get the glue down in that channel. You can get these at a lot of different hobby shops, and I'm actually going to keep these on the website. So they should be on the website very shortly. One little tip about using those applicator nozzles is they just kind of fit on there. They're not really screwed on very well, so they can come off, and you don't want them to come off on a glue bottle. So a nice tip, this is actually from Mark Santa Maria. You can actually put some heat shrink on that nozzle and you'll get a lot better adhesion to the glue bottle, and that nozzle will stay on there. So nice little tip to keep your nozzle on the glue bottle. So a couple things. I would round the edges where you can. If you need to make a seam, you can make a seam. You can do T seams like 90 degrees, or you can even do cut 45s and do 45-degree angles. You can also just run it on there and cut it. This trim cuts and trims very easily, so I think you'll find it goes on real easy. So use a good paint. Make sure the protective film is off. You don't want to glue the armor to the film, because then it won't be glued to the body and it'll come off. Two things. So you want to make sure that you do a pre-mount. And so what I call a pre-mount is you get the armor on there but not glued in yet, just maybe glued in a few spots. And you want to check your fitment on the car before you make anything permanent. So get the armor on there, and what I'll tell you is the best way to do that is you find your starting spot, which I tend to use the back of the car. And what I'll do is put a little bit of glue on that first piece so that it actually stays in place while I do the rest of the car. If you don't do this step, it'll kind of fight you, and it will tend to try to come off while you're doing the rest of it. So again, just getting it started with a little bit of glue, and then I can start working the rest of the body around. Certain turns, you got to kind of twist the armor to get it in there, and you definitely want to push it and make sure you got it fully seated all the way around. So as makes that turn, and since I trimmed out those aggressive turns there, it's actually really easy to make all these turns. So a little bit of prep work goes a long ways. What I tend to do, once I get a certain amount, I will put a little bit of glue before a real aggressive angle. So that same concept as on the back, it'll hold the armor in place while I do the rest of the body. So again, make sure you got it fully seated before you do any type of gluing. All right, now that I have a little bit of glue, I can continue on. I actually kind of enjoy this. It's kind of fun. I don't know, kind of weird to say that, but it is. Once you get it on and it's clean, I mean, not only does it make the body super strong and prevent those pesky cracks that I hate, I think it looks cool, to be honest with you. If it didn't look cool, I don't think I would have gone as far with the idea as I have. Alright, so we've made it another good bit of distance, so I'm going to want to put a little bit of glue on this edge. Before you put any glue, again, make sure that the armor is fully seated where you want it, because that glue is making it a little bit more permanent. So I just put a little bit. Just let it cure a little bit. Again, a lot of rags. Keep a lot of rags handy. All right. And now we're just going down the other side. Use a little bit more glue. All right. Doesn't take long for the glue to set up to the armor. So go ahead and start making my way around the back. Some terms can be a little bit tricky, but you'll know when it slides in. You'll know when you get it in there that it's right. All right, and then you work your way around to the back and just cut it to the right length. I'll put a little bit of glue on that just to hold it in place. And that is actually now pre-mounted. What I call pre-mounted, so I can actually now set this on the car, make sure all my clearances are good, that nothing's hitting anywhere, that it will body pose, everything is good. Once you know that it fits and that you don't have, and one thing to remember, if it's a buggy body, make sure that the servo cutout, if there is one, like on the Mugen, that the servo cutout on the body, the clearances there are important, because you don't want the armor catching your servo horn or your servo arm. Then other than that, once you know the fitment is good and everything's good to go on, you can go ahead and mount the body. And the best way I found to do that, a good thick glue, a good thick CA glue. I use just what I use for my tires with the nozzle, applicator nozzle. You get that, you want to glue the outside and make sure the armor is glued to the body. That's the main adhesion for the armor. And then once that's in there, I'll go through and do a nice little bead around the entire edge, just so it's a nice clean bead. And then once that's done and dry, I'll do the inside with a shoe glue, and I'll just run with my finger and the nozzle a bead around that edge on the inside and just seal that backside edge. And then it's on, as long as you got the glue in the channel well enough, it should be permanent. If it does happen to come off, you push it right back on, put a little bit more glue so it's not the end of the world. If you lose some, you can definitely spot repair it as needed. Last thing is, for the bodies, will sometimes with the glue will turn a white discoloration a little bit. It's not permanent, you can get that off. So I use just a little bit of saliva on a rag, a little spit shine, a couple wipes. Usually it goes away, or it has for me anyways. So that's not a permanent effect. You can definitely clean that off. Every body is different, like I said, so you got to kind of figure out what looks best and works best for your body. All I do at this point, put the nozzle down in the channel, and I'm just making sure that the glue is actually going down in those channels, and I'll just work it all the way around. If you get the nozzle down in there, you can usually do it pretty quick and just run that line. And as you can see, it's Alright, so I've glued that back quarter there. So you just run that bead all the way around, follow that channel, get it all the way around, and then I come back through with a nice little bead on this thing just to make it a smooth. Again, just take your time, you don't want to overdo it. Just keep rags handy in case you do overdo it. Anywhere that the armor starts to flex out, you can usually squeeze it and it'll tighten up. But just, again, keep some rags handy so you don't make too much of a mess. Run that channel all the way around, glue all the way around, and then on the inside, just shoe glue the inside channel just on the bead. You don't have to necessarily get the shoe glue in the channel. You're just running it along the bead to seal the backside up. And then the armor's good for ready for battle and good to go. Again, I'm excited about the product. Hopefully you can try it out. And again, reach out to me on the website with any feedback or any questions, especially on installation or anything like that. I'm finding a lot of different uses for this stuff. I'm putting it on wings, on nitro engine heads as well. So again, I think that's it. rcbodyarmor.com. Check it out, try it out, and hopefully you'll fall in love with it like I did. Have a good evening or day, whatever it is where you are.